Hello everyone and welcome back to the HCW YouTube channel. My name is Rate Wrestle and once again we've got a Indie Spotlight and I've got the pleasure of being joined by Ho Ho Loon. How are you doing?
Good morning. Thank you for having me here for this interview today.
Yeah, so it is morning for me. It's around about 7, well just hitting 7 a.m. What time is it around your area?
Oh, it's 3 p.m. here. Just finished my workout and then getting ready for this.
What a great time for you. um,
Yeah.
so, as I said before we got into this, this is kind of like a This Is Your Life rip-off. So we'll be discussing from when you started out, which you've probably answered a lot of times, all the way up to your British tour you're coming in on December, January. So what's your first wrestling memory? How did you get interested in wrestling?
I remember when I was a kid, like 6, 7 years old. I was watching. I grew up in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
There's a cable TV channel that aired New Japan Pro Wrestling, and at the same time, there's another channel that aired WCW.
Hmm.
If you remember that time, 1996,
Yeah, yeah.
1997. They work together all the time, WCW, New Japan. So I find it very interesting. I saw the same batch of wrestler, a Japanese dude, American dude that wrestle in different TV channel, putting on different matches, and it started, getting more interested in it. I remember watching Jushin Thunder Liger, Great
Yeah.
Muta. We got Sting. We got Scott Norton, the NWO Hogan on the other side. That's how I get exposed to professional wrestling TV programs.
Yeah, it's like primetime NWO, wasn't it, at that point as well?
Yeah,
NWO Japan and so forth.
yeah.
And then what made you suddenly decide to give it a go yourself?
Um, During that time, there's no professional wrestling exist in China
Yeah.
until 2005.
Mm.
Um, there's a person. His ring name is The Slam, like Body Slam, The Slam.
Ah,
That's
okay.
his ring name. So he was an exchange student in Korea
Mm.
for a couple of years, returned to China. During his time as an exchange, like university student in Korea, he started training with a Korean wrestling company.
Yeah.
But then he returned to China. We find out that there's nothing. So he started a wrestling organization on in his house, his rooftop. He
Mm.
set up a wrestling ring there in rooftop and called himself CWE China Wrestling Entertainment.
Ah, okay.
So when it first started, it's a small town in China, about 2 hours away from Hong Kong. Um, and internet just started. He can't get a lot of like wrestling students.
Yeah.
So people who get started are his neighbors and his cousins. Um, and I find out this news on the internet. That was about 2004, 2005. I just graduated from high school. And I find out that there's only 2 hours away from where I live. So I decided to give it a go. And then that's how I started travel every weekend to receive some training with the slam until 2007. I thought the slam can do it on his rooftop, then why don't I? So in Hong Kong, I tried to find a wrestling ring supplier.
Yeah.
I couldn't, so I get to approach a boxing ring supplier, and they said they could make a wrestling ring. Um, I pay my deposit, the ring got delivered, and it's as hard as concrete.
Well, yeah.
But then money is paid and the ring is here. So I thought, all right, let's get started. So that's how we started 2007. That's the opening stage of Hong Kong Pro Wrestling, and that's how I started as a promoter, as a wrestler, and I
Yeah.
gathered like 10, 20 wrestlers in Hong Kong, and we train ourselves and then receive some extra training from the Slam, and then that's how we started. Put in a few matches in 2008, and that's how the wrestling scene is created. The first generation of Chinese pro wrestling is from the Slam's rooftop and from that little warehouse in the concrete wrestling ring in Hong Kong.
That's an amazing story. How you can just bring that to the countries. Um, do you remember your first match, like your actual first match?
Yeah, that's in a little warehouse in Hong Kong. So we marketed through Facebook. I remember that's about 50, 60 people came in.
Hmm.
That little warehouse is so hot. It's in the summer. It's
Oh
35-degree in the
yeah.
outside, and and there's no aircon in the inside the building. So like inside that little flat, that little warehouse, is like 60, 70 people there, plus the wrestler, plus the referee.
Yeah.
Super hot. We only got like two fan there, but the fan is like blowing out hot wind.
Start helping. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we get started. But then like people seems happy. Um, we're happy, and then we start doing that once every month until 2009. Um, we shut it down because the rent, they
Yeah.
try to charge us double the rent, so I'm not gonna do it. Um, but I thought, so we shut it down. So what should I do? Then I decided to come down to the UK
Yeah.
and see if the self-taught kind of training are correct or not correct. So we
Mm.
self-taught, the slam taught us a little bit for the past 3 years. So gonna come and verify it. So I came to Swindon at 4FW
Yeah.
and then just found out that it sounds like I can keep up with them. 80%, 90% of them. That's interesting. That's how I get started wrestling in the UK.
Yeah. How did you like? How did you get to the UK? Like, did you just speak to 4FW or?
Yeah, there's that time I do not think of, anything crazy. I'm not thinking to become a full-time professional wrestler.
Yeah.
At that point, for me, it's still a weekend kind of, activity. Um, I have a daytime job
Yeah.
at that period, so I took like a month off or something, and just randomly search what wrestling school you got in the UK, and that's what Google recommended me to came.
Mm.
And then okay, I just come in, try a few session, feel really feel really interested about it. So 1 year later, I actually quit my job
Yeah.
to decided to stay in the UK for another 6 months and see if it's worked out. And it did. After like 2 or 3 months with 4FW, I started getting booking with Mad Dog Max,
Yeah.
and then some other independent promotion in Coventry in the Midland area, and that's how this idea came up that maybe professional wrestling can be a full-time career. Because at that point, my full-time work in Hong Kong was a research assistant in a university.
Okay.
So I thought that I was about 21 years old at that point, and I thought, if I don't start wrestling now, I don't think I'm gonna start it later. But I'm a research assistant in the university. This is a job that if I'm able to do this on 21, I'm surely able to do this at 41.
So
But
give it a
wrestling,
go.
if I
Yeah.
don't start at 21, I'm not starting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
No.
okay, let's give it a go. Come on, Swindon.
I don't think anyone's ever said, "Come on, Swindon." um, so do you remember your first matches outside of like Hong Kong, China? Was that in the UK or was that Taiwan?
Yeah, actually, I wrestled a little bit in Taiwan.
Yeah.
In I can't remember. I can't remember the promotion name because it's shut already. But the opponent that I faced in Taiwan, he's still wrestling in Taiwan at this point. So 12 years, 13 years later. Um, his name is Black Hole. Why everyone calls Hole in China? But yeah, his name is Black Hole. I wrestled him in my first match. I actually wrestled him like 3 months ago as well.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
So yeah, I remember that, and then I also remember my first match in the UK was in Coventry.
Hmm.
I can't remember where in Coventry, but it's a little town hall. 80% of the fans are kids, so kids show. I think they like me. I remember that point of my character
Yeah.
was a Chinese karaoke singer and come out with the green sunglasses. And they love my green sunglasses.
Yeah, kids are
So
very
that was
easily
my first
swayed here.
match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might have been CPW, Coventry Pro Wrestling, I think, because they
I
did a lot. They do a lot of family-friendly shows.
Yeah, the promoter is who's the promoter? James. What's his ring name? I can't remember his ring name. I remember his James. Too big dude.
Not sure.
Henchman.
I know CPW is ran by, but that was 2013. It's got Mr. Richards he goes by in CPW. I don't know if it's the same one, yeah.
It's not Richard. For sure it's not him.
Uh, so you brought PWL. PWL is like a local one to me. So what are your memories of PWL? Especially Mad Dog Max, because everyone loves Mad Dog.
Yeah, Mad Dog is still working at this moment, 13 years later. Most of the show is like little community center, little bar, gentleman club, you know, you call it. What's that? Yeah, it's like a very friendly and mild environment there. I don't feel a lot of pressure of it. If you go to a show where a lot of the real wrestling fans, the hardcore wrestling fans, you feel the pressure because they expect something. But then if you're working in community center, the kids, they just want to enjoy some good time. The parents bring up the kid and have a sip of beer and then enjoy the weekend. So I think that's the perfect place for me to start for less pressure, and then slowly goes to to the hardcore wrestling fans. I remember I started there, and then 2013 I started working for more hardcore wrestling promotion like Triple X, Fight Club Pro.
You had like Attack Pro Wrestling as well.
Attack.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so these are the hardcore wrestling fans. That's where they go.
Yeah. This is a really random one. Obviously, Hong Kong Pro Wrestling. You had a name change for a while to 01?
Yes, that was between 2012 2013. That's the point where 01 in Japan, they have a lot of foreign outside Japan kind of partnership started. They have 01 Australia, they have 01 USA, and there's actually at one point Samoa Joe and CM Punk was once there. So that's the period where 01 wants that overseas all the partnership there, and then we are lucky enough to secure the Hong Kong 01 partnership, and then we have a few Japanese guys, Hashimoto, Kamikaze, Otani actually came into Hong Kong for a couple of times too. So that was a great period, but until that, they just decided to focus more back to Japan, and then all this overseas partnership just kind of stopped it for a little bit. But that actually helped us a lot, to have some Japanese influence into our kind of training. Yeah. And then the wrestler, the local wrestler is able to stay in home and witness what it's like wrestling in Japan, right in front of their home in Hong Kong. And at that point, there's also I'm able to wrestle in 01 in Japan for a little bit, 6 months. And there's another Hong Kong dude called Jason Lee. He eventually get to 01 and get a full-time contract and eventually become a junior heavyweight champion over there, which led him into Dragon Gate here like 10 years later. Yeah. So that is a great experience, partnering with 01.
Yeah, that's incredible. And then you, as said, got into 2013 when you were in the UK. You got to wrestle a lot of the guys that are big now. So like they were starting out around about 2013, but a lot of people like Mark Andrews and Chris Brooks and Clint Margera, you got a chance, which is like prior to them actually like getting out on their own massively. How was it wrestling people like Chris Brooks?
Oh, Chris Brooks! I remember I only wrestled him once or twice, I think, that period. Yeah, that's where we all just first started. Taylor Bate as well.
Yeah.
Who else was there? Flash Morgan.
Yeah, Dan Maloney as well, who's just ended up in New
we
Japan.
all first started, and then I'm actually very happy to see them, all of us doing great thing all around the world. Yeah, it's just lucky enough for me too. I mean, I'm able to be in that group, wrestle with them for during that 6 month period, and wrestling Chris. That time, the memory is very blurred because it's at
10 years
that
ago,
point, although I already started for like 5 or 6 years, but then wrestling in a foreign atmosphere is still something new for me. Wrestling English is of course is not my first language. It's my second language. You still understand me, right?
Yeah, no, you speak better than most people in England, so that's the joke that normally happens.
I actually catch up with Chris Brook last November in Singapore. Me and him wrestled in a single match. So, just a lot of memory come back some, when we first started in the UK. And then I actually met Chris like a few months ago in Shinjuku, just bumped him in the street. And it's,
he's not hard to miss, is he?
And then we talk about like what we did in the past. We share this with our Japanese friend as well. That's a great story.
So like it was a time where you said like Fright Club Pro, people like the Hunter Brothers as well were one of the best tag teams in the UK. And then like we move on to I don't know, it's CNWWE, I think the class does. Yeah, because a lot of UK guys came over there at that time as well, I saw. How was your time with them? Obviously, you got to wrestle with people like Pete Dunne at that point as well.
That is about 2014. There's a guy in Chongqing City in China that he's an owner of a karaoke complex. So there's a big karaoke complex. It's like 4-story. So he has this idea to take down the first floor. You call it ground floor. He decided to take down the ground floor and switch it to a wrestling arena. So I'm obviously in China the only person who has wrestled overseas. So he decided to hire me as a producer, and then also to get a few guys, to come into China and wrestle. So I thought UK is where I started, so let me get someone from the UK. So I got Pete Dunne, Sam Gradwell, Zach Gibson. So they are all in NXT UK. Who else? CJ Banks. So I think it's 4 of them. I almost got Mark Andrew, but then I think the schedule just clashed. It didn't came, but he's on poster. So we were able to put on shows every day there for about 6 months. Until the customer feel it's the same thing for 6 months every day, and then the boss decided to shut it down. There's a legend. This guy's a legend. His name is Drunken Boss. If you go interview Sam Gradwell and you talk about Drunken Boss, he's gonna be really happy because this guy come in every time like drunk. I remember when they first landed in Chongqing, we are having a group dinner. So this Drunken Boss tell us, "Oh, do you want to try some Chinese wine?" I don't drink, so I'm okay. But Sam and CJ Banks, they drink a lot. So yeah, of course, Chinese wine. So they put on. Wow, tastes horrible. This feels like petrol. So, but yeah, they drink it, have a fun night. We're all having fun for that night. Then we decided, we started wrestling for every day for 6 months. The fans love it at the beginning. But then after that, we just it's at the end it's a karaoke club. It's not a wrestling kind of things, and wrestling is still not a very popular culture in China, especially in that city in Chongqing. It's in the north, how do you call it, northwest of China.
Yeah.
So although it's a populated city, but then it's just not the culture there in wrestling. So 6 months later, we stopped it. A lot of us, get our last month wages not getting received, but it's okay. It's an experience. That's the experience with all the UK guys in China. But then Sam Gradwell, I think he loved China so much. So about 2018, when I came back from the WWE, there's a new wrestling company in Guangzhou, China.
Yeah.
They found this new promotion, and Sam Gradwell actually come back for like 2-3 times and wrestle there as well.
That's great. It's great that you love the culture and stuff like that as well.
Love China so
or
much.
just the wine. But yeah, so you brought it up. Obviously, you had the chance to wrestle for WWE. How did that come about? Like, how did you get scouted to go to the Cruiserweight Classic?
Well, that's about 2015. 2015. I received an email that WWE is trying to run a World Cup style tournament for the junior heavyweight, for the cruiserweight. So I'm asked to submit my CV and videos and all that. Send it over for 3-4 months, no reply.
Yeah.
Didn't hit anything. So I thought probably the next round.
Yeah.
But then in about 2016 January, I actually received an email from Mr. Regal and say, let's do it. So we did that. And actually before that Cruiserweight Classic, there's the WWE trial in China in about May 2016.
Yeah.
So I was there as well. Did the trial 4 days, 3 days, 4 days, I guess, in Shanghai. So I did that tryout, although I'm already confirmed for the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah.
But then still did the tryout, travel to America, did Cruiserweight Classic, did the first round, come back to Hong Kong, do the second round. After the second round match, I was asked, Ho, do you want to keep doing this but in NXT?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. I guess they like me in the tryout, I guess.
It's a good sign, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't tell me, but I guess it was what it was. So, I'm able to stay in NXT for about a year and a half, and that was a fantastic experience.
Yeah, it's not many people get to have that experience, especially you did get to wrestle like a lot of like the bigger guys now, like Andrade, people like Damien when he was at Sanity, Angelo Dawkins and stuff like that. You also got to wrestle in the I think it's the the Tag Team Classic, I think it was called.
Oh, there's a Tag Team Classic or something.
Yeah. I think it was Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. I think it was actually.
Dusty Rhodes Classic. Yeah. So
where you got
Wang Bin. Tian Bin. They call Tian Bin. We wrestled just one match with Johnny Gargano and Ciampa.
Yeah, DIY, which is not a bad match to have.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and then obviously that came to an end with that, and then you've been travelling ever since. So you became KOP champion in 2019.
Yeah. 2017 I decided to resign from WWE.
Yeah.
Because of actually mainly there's one reason, because my parents is they're so old, it's not getting well. So some of my other family say, Ho, you wanna quit your job and stay near to your mom and all that. I said, this is a dream job for all the rest. You really want me to quit? But then at the same time, there's a casino complex in Macau that offered me an opportunity to produce everyday show in a casino complex. So this actually gave me a second reason to, resign from this dream job for everybody. So semi-resignation. Take up my new job in Macau, that casino complex, and able to be at home 2-3 days a week. Spend time with my mom. That's the last 6 months of her life. I'm glad I did that. But then that Macau casino, we put up show every day, and at the same time there's that KOPW. That's what you talked about. They decided to become the next wave of Chinese wrestling organization, and they're actually doing quite well right now. So I wrestled there, and then I also become the producer there for their first 3 shows. That's where Sam Gradwell come in. Actually, Zach Gibson came in too with James Drake.
James Drake, young vet,
came in for their first show too. When they came in, they were the Progress Tag Team Champion.
Yeah, that was a big thing at that point.
Yeah. So, where are we now? Yeah, KOPW. Yeah, they're still doing great. I just wrestled for them last June, and I think I will do it again in October. Didn't confirm that, but I think I will do that. They are one of the top wrestling company in China now. Well, although there's only 4 wrestling company exist in China.
Well, they are still top, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, they are top, and they did great production. Content are great, and it's in Guangzhou. They speak Cantonese, all good.
Yeah, and you'll also forever be known as their first ever champion, so which is an accolade. You held that top for like nearly 300 days. And you got to wrestle, as I said, Jason Lee. And I just wanted to put like the first match I saw, you were involved with Sam Gradwell, as you brought him up, which I think was for the vacant title. Just wanted to bring up the second match I saw in it. You faced someone called the Power Warrior, and I just think that's a fantastic name.
Power Warrior.
For SPW, I think he was that.
That's in Singapore. Yeah.
It just sounds like a fantastic name.
He's the one wearing the mask, and then he came in like Power Ranger, that kind of thing.
That makes sense.
So he called himself a Power Warrior.
No, that does make sense. And you did wrestle Sam Gradwell a few times during that title run. You beat him in a lumberjack match, and then eventually lost the title to Black Dragon, who is the champion once again now.
Yeah.
And then you went back to the UK in 2019, so you have been you've been coming back and forth to the UK. You wrestled a 90-minute match.
Oh yeah, that's in where? Huddersfield or something.
I'm just gonna try and find it again, but I just saw it was 90 minutes, and I was like, I've got to
it is 90. It is 90 minutes. We wrestle. There's the wrestling show going on, right? But then there's a 4 counts anywhere match. So
Iron Fist. That was it was for Herefordshire.
Yeah. So we wrestled a bit in the ring. We wrestled in the parking lot, and then we never come back. And then since we never come back, they started the next match. And then during the next match, we come back again. There's actually 2 matches going on in the ring for a little bit, and then we run around, all that. That's some really funny storyline going on that match. Yeah, pretty funny.
No, that is a good story. It was just when I saw it, because I was researching a cage match that you wrestled for 90 minutes. I was like, what's this?
No way. But that actually goes on for 90 minutes. Outside, inside, the parking lot, and then we go. We will wrestle a little bit inside a van too, I remember.
Yeah.
I don't know if the footage is still available on YouTube or something, but that's really fun.
No, and then like around that time as well, you got to Mad Dog match for the title in PWL.
Yeah.
And you got a chance to wrestle for Southside Wrestling, who are one of my favourite companies at that point.
Yeah, they become RevPro now, is it?
Yeah, they got merged with RevPro, and gave it to RevPro. But you got to wrestle people like Robbie X, who is doing incredible now.
Yeah, he's one of the top here in UK. I feel like.
Yeah, he's pretty much a cheat code, though. I don't understand how he physically can do what he does.
Yeah.
And then obviously you've moved into wrestling full time, well, mainly full time with Dragon Gate.
hmm
So how did you end up with Dragon Gate?
So Dragon Gate actually, they came into a Hong Kong tour since 2018.
Yeah,
So of course I wrestled there for a little bit. 2018 two matches, 2019 another two matches, and then one of the bookers said, "Hey Ho Ho, do you want to come to Japan to tour for 3 months, 6 months?" Yeah, yeah, of course. So I started my first Dragon Gate Japan match in 2019 November. Um, I did 3 months, and then I did 3 months, and then I returned Hong Kong for
mm,
spending the Chinese New Year's, and then I supposed to come back in again for another 3 months. So I come back to Japan
yeah,
where I did 1 month, and then all the quarantine policy happened. So when it first started, we were like, oh, ho, just stay at our place. We got place for you. Um, it's gonna last for about 2 weeks.
yeah. Everyone thought
That's
that,
what we
didn't they?
first
Yeah.
thought. And I said, oh, 2 weeks, it's fine. Just 2 weeks holiday in Japan. Why not? So wait for 2 weeks, and then another 2 weeks, and then another 2 weeks until we first find out that we can do a show just for TV taping without any audience in
Yeah,
the arena. So we did that was like 2 months later. That's how we get restarted. Um, and then slowly we were able to get 30% capacity, 50% capacity. Um, just really slow. It get back really slow. We have an English commentary position there,
yeah,
where we used to fly in commentator from America,
mm,
but then there's all the restriction that no
yeah,
foreigner can come into Japan. They were like, "Ho, you speak English, right? Do you want to try?" I speak English, but I'm not a commentator. I can't
yeah.
do it. You're the only guy who can speak English here. Come on.
Forced law. It's like you.
All right. Speaking English and commentating are not the same thing. But then, okay, I'll take this challenge. And then, um, I became the commentator until now. And then, and then also I got involved in a little bit more of the behind the scene.
Mm,
I'm helping all this Japanese talent um, as a talent liaison kind
yeah,
of guy, and hook them up with American promotion, and of course. Coming up in January, coming down to the UK,
yeah,
Dragon Gate, Shun Skywalker, and Kikuta.
yeah,
Um, that's part of my job now. Commentating, talents related relationship,
yeah.
and wrestling a little bit. That's what I do now.
Bad. And before we kind of go past for a bit, normally at this point in the interviews we kind of discuss because most people didn't have a chance to wrestle during the pandemic, but obviously you did, so we'll have to do a stopgap somewhere. So we discuss more of like what you're into outside of wrestling, like so music wise, are you a big music fan?
Am I?
Yeah. Do you have a big like who you like your favorite artists?
um, when I first started, my character is a karaoke
Yeah.
singer. I used that character for like 4 or 5 years. And the song I sing is basically Hong Kong, Taiwan, Chinese pop music.
Yeah.
So that's all the Chinese pop music that I like, Alan Tam, that's my favorite.
Okay.
That's from the 80s. Hong Kong big star. Um, who else? Who else that I like a lot? Uh, Yeah, Ellen Time is my favorite, always.
I'll look that up. And you a big movie fan at all?
Only Chinese comedy.
Okay.
Stephen Chow is my favorite comedian all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's also from the 90s. You know, the I probably me and you grew up at the same age, so
Yeah.
we probably loved the stuff in the 90s, but you know, the stuff happening now, I'm not really interested. Only the 90s.
Just stuck in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then what about, do you game at all?
Game.
Yeah.
Gaming. My
Yeah,
most recent gaming experience memory was PlayStation 2.
in the 90s.
In the 90s. I play like Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
7, 8, 9, that's it. It's Final Fantasy what now? Probably 16,
So,
17 now,
yeah, it
right?
is ridiculously. Oh, yeah, I can't remember. I think it's like 15, 16, yeah.
Yeah. But like Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, Biohazard, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Proper old school,
That kind
yeah.
of things.
And then we had a few questions that came in from just like general fans. One of them is a typical question we get every time, which is if you had to have a movie of your life, who would play you?
Wow. Who would play me? Who would play me? Well, since I love comedy a lot and I feel like my life is like a comedy, that's gonna be my favorite comedian all time, Stephen Chow.
Okay, there you go for the guy that asked that, Stephen Chow. And then it's a weird question though. It's not weird. Wrestling wise in the UK, who has been your favourite company to work for?
Um, that have to be 4FW. This is where I started. They call it British Kingdom Pro Wrestling now,
Yeah.
but it's the same promoter,
Yeah.
same group of wrestler. That's going to be my all-time favorite.
Yeah, and you're coming back for them, so which we'll
Yeah.
bring up near the end. But yeah, so this is more of a question for me. How's it like wrestling Ultimate Dragon? Just like it's incredible.
At first, there's a lot of pressure. I mean, he's a serious, very serious man. You know, I actually met him in the UK. I first met him in the UK 2013 when he wrestled in the UK for a little bit. So the image for me of him is very serious. You know, when you talk to him, you gotta be super polite, 200% politeness. You know, kind of things like this. And then many years later, 2019, when I come here in Dragon Gate, I met him again, and I said, "Yeah, nice to meet you, Mr. Dragon. My name is Ho Holland.
Yeah.
We met 7 years ago. Oh, I remember. UK, right? Yes, UK. So it's still a lot of pressure talking to him at that point. But then 4 years later, while I wrestle him almost every show, not wrestle him, sometimes tag team with him.
Yeah.
Sometime we're in the same show. So he's actually a very nice person, give us a lot of feedback, a lot of advice, what to do about character, things like that. So it might be really scary to approach into him at first, but nice person.
That's great to hear, because all I picture of Ultimo Dragon is that one picture that goes around the internet all the time with him with like 400 bouts on his arm. That's the I always picture Ultimo Dragon.
Yeah. But he's like 50 something years old now, but he's still really, really, athletic.
Incredible still, yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll move back to the actual wrestling side of it. So you brought a Dragon. You also got a chance to wrestle for AEW in the last couple of years as well.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about?
So that was 2021, winter time. Because every winter, Dragon Gate here in Japan, they took like the 3 weeks off. So I thought that's why I do the UK tour this year. And 2021, I decided to do the US one, where I took about two months off and traveled to the US, and I did not expect the AEW booking came in. I actually traveled to the UK without having one single booking. No, actually I had one before I fly out. And then I get to the US, approach promoters, and then I end up wrestling with a lot of company, MLW, GCW, Deadlock, and then a few more. And then this AEW actually came up when when I was in the US, I'm based in Orlando, and they have a TV taping there in Jacksonville, and I got this invitation to you want to come down here and stand by. They didn't confirm anything. You want to come down and stand by? Yeah, so I'm in Jacksonville, only 2 hours away from me, so why not? I also want to take a look at what the backstage is like. I know a lot of people. Andrade was there.
Yeah.
Who else was there? I met a lot of old friends. There in AEW. Only at the day of the taping, I find out that I have a match in Dark. Although there's a 3-4 minute match, but then that was a great experience. But yeah, the thing that impressed me most is the backstage environment. It's almost a Raw SmackDown kind of backstage setting. They have all the big arena stuff. Producer for every matches. Catering available all the time. Hairdressing, everything.
But yeah, it's great that you got a chance there, and it was against Sammy Guevara as well. Obviously, he was one of the biggest stars in AEW. So a chance to wrestle him. And then you did mention you did pretty much go and wrestle with most of the big US indies like GCW, MLW, DPW. What was it like to because they're in the social media a lot at the moment. What was it like to wrestle Kid Bandit?
Oh, Kid Bandit.
Yeah.
He's a fun dude. I didn't know him at all before I get to the US, and then I met him, and he said he only wrestled for like a year and a half or something. You're new, okay. And he also knew that I at that point I was the Philippine wrestling champion, and he said, I'm born in the Philippines, so okay, we have some similarity. We wrestle there, the fans love it. And his character is more like an animated kind of character.
Yeah.
So whenever he do a move, he shout the move name.
It's fun, yeah.
So yeah, it's fun to wrestle him.
That's great. And then you already answered my next question was that you wrestled Chris Brooks in Singapore for SPW. So we're moving on to like more recent time. Obviously, you've just been continuously wrestling with Dragon Gate, which is a fantastic thing to be doing. What has been your favourite match in Dragon Gate?
Wow, it's hard to say because I wrestle like 10 matches a month, 8 matches a month sometimes. But the most memorable thing to me was last year when I wrestled as Kung Fu Master and challenged the Triangle Gate Championship, where my opponent was M3K Susumu Mochizuki and Masaki Mochizuki and his son Junior Mochizuki. Almost every match here are, how to say, as a person, do you know how I get to know about Dragon Gate?
Yeah.
This wrestling company, that's in the 90s. No, not 90s. That's when before I start wrestling.
Yeah.
I do not speak a single Japanese word. I can't read it. And there's no translation app during 2005 or something. So if I want to watch Dragon Gate, at that point they call it tournament. So I have to order VHS from an American supplier and ship it to Hong Kong so that I can put it on my, VHS player. Yeah. That's a long way to travel from Hong Kong watching a Japanese TV program.
Yeah.
traveled to America, got dubbed to another VHS, and then mailed to Hong Kong and put it on my VHS machine. That's how I first started to watch my first Dragon Gate show. So 20 years later, I'm able to wrestle with all these people that I watched on the VHS 20 years ago. So it's like a miracle to me,
Yeah.
as a Chinese kid, didn't speak any language at all. But that match, with the championship on the line, that become very memorable.
That's great. Well, and they're a great team as well.
Yeah.
Dream K. But yeah, you've just got to wrestle everyone there, like Naroiki Doi as well, before he retired and stuff like that. It's like just incredible, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
And then we're bringing up the reason we brought you on the show. You are coming back to the UK during December, January time for the promotion. So if you don't know if you want to explain to the guys that are watching why you're coming back.
Yeah, UK is actually where I start wrestling in, and 4FW is actually the promotion that give me my career in wrestling. If it's not them, I'm not here. So they actually shut it down in 2019 because of the restriction.
Yeah.
But then this year they decided to return and rebranded it as British Kingdom Pro Wrestling. And I thought they have the best training facility in the UK, in my opinion. Dave Sharp, the promoter, is one of the most passionate people, and he's also a really good wrestling coach. The attention to detail is the one that I think is one of the best in the UK or in the world. As they are returning this year, I would love to be a part of it. I spoke to Dave and then told him that I'm also the talent relation guy here in Dragon Gate. I remember back in day to bring in a lot of people from New Japan, Michinoku Pro Wrestling, back in 2013. So I thought, I thought he might be interested to. Also, would you be interested to bring in some Dragon Gate dude? Yeah, why not? Dragon Kid and Shun Skywalker. They are one of the most popular among the UK fans. So we made it happen in January. And then so I was like, oh, I also wanted to come back to the UK for a longer period. Then why don't I also come in earlier after December, spend Christmas in the UK and try to experience the minus 25 degree temperature?
What a great time to be alive. But yeah, so British Kingdom
most of the
Pro.
time I was in the UK were in summertime, autumn time, but never been in winter time. So yeah,
Surprising
I'd
it's
love to
not
experience
that bad during Christmas. It gets really cold like end January, March, February, so you might be right. You might be gone before it starts becoming
really?
horrific. But yeah. So what I'll be doing is I'll put a link in the description for the shows of British Kingdom Pro. They're running Swindon, Gloucester, Oxford and Redditch. Redditch is the one I'll be going to because it's the closest one to myself.
Right.
But it's going to be a pleasure seeing like Shun Skywalker and yourself wrestle live. And then have you got any more bookings in the UK you're aware of or can announce, or at the moment it's not planned?
Yeah, in December there will be 2 shows in Colchester. That is for this company called SOS.
Yeah.
So it's December 10th and 17th, I guess. We'll be there, and then I think there's a couple of promotion that we're still talking, but I think we'll get like 2 or 3 more in December before Christmas. So if anything, I'll just put it on my Instagram. It might be a show near one of our viewers.
Well, either way, I'll be seeing you in Redditch, so that'll be good.
Yeah.
And before we end this, a question we normally ask every guest is it's like a double barrel question. So dream match wise, if you could wrestle anyone at the moment that's around, who would you wrestle? And then the other question is anyone that has like either passed away or is retired, who would be your dream match?
Wow, that's a really difficult question, but let me narrow it down to the UK. So if it's the UK wrestling scene, I want to wrestle, of course, Robbie X once again.
Yeah.
He's doing so well in the UK right now, and I have recently seen some footage of another guy called Callum Newman. Yeah.
Callum Newman, yeah, he's wrestling for New Japan now as well, yeah.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's in
Yeah.
Will Ospreay's group, yeah.
Okay, if he's in the UK, of course, I would be really interested to have a match with him. And yeah, these are the two person that always come up on my Twitter, and the stuff that they did, amazing.
No, yeah, like Robbie X is one of the most underrated wrestlers in the world.
Yeah, I believe so.
Like he's so good and he's just ridiculous at the same time what he does, yeah. But yeah, so that is the end of this. So we've had your Instagram below your picture for the old video. But if you want to tell everyone your other Twitter, your social medias and so forth, and I'll put them in the description for you as well.
Yeah, that's a Holun HOHOLUN 719. Twitter, Instagram, same ID.
Yeah, so that'll be in the description. The tickets and description for British Pro Wrestling will be in there as well. So for everyone else, like and subscribe. We'll try and bring more people on the channel as we go along. But yep, that's goodbye from myself, and thank you for coming on, Ho-Ho.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah!